when things are stuck in a heart level, it's not beneficial for us in the long run, because we might have certain restrictions that actually holds us back from experiencing what love really is. Like, when this client of mine, she actually had a divorce, so she was actually holding herself back from experiencing love again, and letting someone else have a chance to go into her heart again, to love her and to nourish and to nurture her. So because as we grow up, we do have experiences that actually affects us in a way, and sometimes we just thought that it's not going to mean a lot to us, and we just move on. But if all this is like, we sometimes are unaware of any emotions like that actually has an impact in our heart center, and that sometimes restrict us from doing certain things that we love as well. So when you actually come for all these therapies, especially heart healing, it actually opens up your heart and to just clear whatever of the residuals that are, or any of the unwanted energy that you're still holding space in, or having a space in your heart, or holding that resentment or things like that. So when you do this heart healing, it just let you, sometimes you have a flashback of certain issues that trigger this emotion that you have right now, or this difficulty of having, or being open, or being able to just receive. And then after that, you just be able to say, oh, actually this has been affecting me, and unconsciously, so it's more like getting you to just look at, or reflect back on the things that that is actually holding a space in your heart center unknowingly, and just be able to just look at it and letting go, and be able to just be free in the process as well.
Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Shift with Shubhra. I'm your host, Shubhra VENNETI. I'm a certified sleep consultant for adults and children. I'm also a baby science program instructor and an Akashic Light Healing practitioner. And I'm the host of Shift with Shubhra. So thank you very much for joining us on today's show. We'll be speaking to Jaslyn Kee for today's episode, and we're going to be talking about heart healing therapy. Now, I think some of us are kind of on this. I mean, it's safe to say that most people have heard of yoga, because yoga has been sort of an up and coming, not really up and coming, but it's a popular trend, let's say, that's been around for a couple of decades now. And recently, I would say, about 10-15 years ago, if not more, but more than 10-15 years ago, let's say, Reiki has been getting a little bit more popularity. But heart healing is a very niche therapy that only a few people might know about. And I was very curious about it when I came across it, and sought to find a practitioner in Singapore, of which we have. And Jaslyn Kee with One Heart Singapore, sorry, is one of the few heart healing practitioners here in Singapore. And I wanted to talk about what exactly heart healing was about, and who's it for, and why why would it be beneficial? And a lot of my conversation really that I took away was, there's an underestimated amount of energy that is trapped within our bodies, I think. When we move through life, we obviously pick up memories and impressions from different memories. If there's been stronger emotions that have been attached to it, then those memories remain in our recall process more than memories that are buried in our subconscious. But both have equally created some sort of pattern of belief or pattern of behavior within us that makes us the person we are today. And that's all very well and good if it was all positive memories. However, if it was negative memories, those could be not serving us as best as they should. They could be even hindering us, or preventing us, or limiting us, and causing some issues in our dynamics with people and relationships going forward. So, because of the nature of the heart and how important it is, I mean, if you just think of someone that you really like, your heart has a different rhythm. If you think of someone that you really don't like, you have a different rhythm. If you're scared of something, your heart will start to palpitate. If you're angry about something, your heart will start to palpitate. So the heart, the breath, and the mind all work, and your body, of course, all work really in a synchronized fashion. And the body, interestingly enough, when I keep reading more and more about this, remembers. It holds on to things. And within the body, the heart holds on to many things. And having an open heart allows for many things to come through. And having a closed heart I'm no stranger to it. It can prevent you from a lot of things and can cause you to limit yourself a lot. So I'm so excited to really hear that there are things like heart healing techniques. And I think it'd be really important and interesting for people to know about this therapy and go explore it if it's something that might be something that will be useful for you. So Jaslyn is a Reiki teacher and practitioner. She's also a practitioner for singing bowls where she does chakra balancing. She also does light energy weave, which we'll talk about very, very briefly in this conversation, but it needs a whole other episode, I think, on its own. And she's also a heart healing therapist. So thank you so much for joining us on today's show. I hope you enjoyed today's content. If you like it, please like the episode, share it with someone that you think would benefit from this episode, and subscribe to our channel for all these kinds of episodes and more, exploring different wellness modalities, having different conversations about parenting and relationships. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome, Jaslyn, to Shifter Shubhra. Thank you so much for joining us on today's show. I wanted to just talk about heart healing therapy, what it is, where did it come from, and how did you find it, and what led you to become a practitioner? I know that's many questions in one, actually. So let's maybe just start with, tell me your journey on how you became, an energy practitioner with healing, like with heart healing and all the other modalities that you do.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank you, Shubhra, for actually organizing this, and also, giving me this opportunity to talk more about heart healing and the modalities that I'm actually teaching as well. Basically, I started with energy healing about 6, 7 years ago.
Right.
I was actually working in a logistic company, and I was feeling stressed all the time. At that point in time, my husband was actually going through depression. So so he was actually, at one point he just woke up one day and said, I'm sick and tired of having sleeping pills every night to help me to sleep. So we just Googled and look at what other things that he could, what other kind of natural remedy that he can actually help himself besides taking the sleeping pill. He chanced upon Reiki, and he just called me and said, would you be free on this weekend? I said, yes, just take leave. I'll tell you more when you get back home. Yeah, and then after I went back home, it's like, we just Googled Reiki and just, oh, this is what I actually enrolled us into, a Reiki workshop. And I was like, what is that? Because this is the first time I've actually heard of anything about energy healing and things like that. I was like,
Right.
this is kind of, voodoo kind of thing that you actually have enrolled us in. I said, no, I've just enrolled. It's actually natural. It's, it's just healing our bodies, and, and we don't have to take any medication and things like that. So why don't you just give it a try? And I said, okay, but can I just not go? And he said, no, I've already paid for us, both of us, for this workshop already. And then after that, when I actually went for the work, because he knew that if he said he didn't pay, I would actually have voted out of the workshop totally.
Right.
And after that, it's only on the day of the workshop that I realized that, he just paid cash on the day itself.
I see.
Yeah, that's his way of making me. Yeah, that's what his way of making me, go through the workshop, without, voting out. Yeah, and then after that, the healing from there, started. The healing journey actually started from there. So he was the one who actually introduced me to Reiki energy, and whatever comes next is just meant to be.
Right. And then, so how did you chance upon heart healing therapy itself? Because I think Reiki, not everyone, but most people kind of heard of Reiki these days, right? It was like yoga 20 years ago. Now Reiki is like not the rage, but it's the trend.
It's gaining popularity.
It's getting trendy. Yeah, it's getting trendy now. So but heart healing is quite a rare therapy to even hear, as well as and you also do light energy weave, which maybe we'll have time to talk about. But let's talk about heart healing. So how did you find that?
Okay, basically I was because I was into all these healing techniques, so I was actually organizing this heart healing class and light energy with by this teacher Dabia Singh in Malaysia. He's from Malaysia, so he's actually doing this part-time, so he actually is organizing classes in Singapore. So I was actually the organizer for it. So I was like, if I'm organizing, why don't I just join the class and see what's there to learn and things like that. So yeah, when he was here, I was actually helping him to organize the class and making the logistic, taking care of the logistics and things like that. So that's how I actually get to know about this heart healing and light energy wave.
Okay, and so let's talk about what exactly is heart healing as a therapy. How would you describe it? What's the history about it? Where does it come from?
Okay, heart healing is a teaching from Star Fantas, and also being passed down by Selena Rodriguez. Is actually a technique, a healing technique that's actually passed on from the master healers of the southeastern Mexico and descendants of the Mayans. So what it does is actually, comparatively, like heart healing is it's more like a specialist.
Mm-hmm.
And because as we know, Reiki actually works on all the different areas in our lives. And
Yeah.
whatever we're ready to heal, you just go according to whichever areas that is needed and is most, to the highest good of us. But heart healing is more like, you are a specialist, like a cardiologist, cardio,
Mm.
and then you just go deep into, what needs to be healed at the heart area. So it's
Right.
like, we are being a specialist, and uh, Reiki and like maybe like energy is more like a GP in a sense.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
so there are 5 different therapy techniques, and each one
Mm-hmm.
deals with different issues of the heart. Can you talk a
Yes.
little bit of those 5 different techniques?
Okay. We have the white heart, deep heart, cradle of the heart, white heart, and also the path heart. So for white heart, it's actually a very good technique to receive when your heart energies are in a state of restriction or limitations. So like, some people have areas that are numb. When there is numbness, and it can actually be difficult to feel fully. So white heart actually opens up and widen your heart's energy so that you may actually experience emotions and feeling without any restrictions or limitation.
Right.
And deep heart is actually more for assisting and letting go of any deep-seated and long-term wounds and emotions that you have, built up along the years, and it actually fills up the areas of the heart that are in the most need of support. Okay, and cradle is actually a technique. If if any of my clients actually have experienced or suffered a lack of nurturing, especially when it's rooted in a child and mother relationship. So what it does is it actually reprograms the heart energy to bring in wholeness, creating with nurturing in a process. And it's suitable for anyone who has actually suffered the lack of nurturing, especially when it's rooted. I mean, especially when growing up, you feel that your mom has been, especially your mom has not been, like giving you that nurturing love that you need when you're growing up and things like that. So for
Right.
white heart, it's more when you are not in balance, like heart and your mind is actually not in balance. You are always stuck in your head or your emotion. So when there's actually imbalance, you are not able to make decision in a very rational way. And sometimes I did listen more to the heart or more to the head. So white heart is more to actually re-establish the flow or the balance between the head and the heart. So when our head and heart connection is strong, we are able to access the divine will and the flow of divine much more easier and make decision much more easier. And it's also very effective for healing the physical and maintaining a healthy heart as well. So path heart is when you actually are challenged by the lack of ability to give or receive love to yourself or to others. So when this treatment of path heart is actually being given to you, you will be able to feel the love, feel a heart with love and unconditional love, especially, and remind you what love is in a process and makes you happy actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So each one is
Mm-hmm.
obviously very specifically tailored to a person's issues, and like
Yes.
just so we're just going through it one by one again. So we had
Mm-hmm.
white heart, which is about expanding your
Mm-hmm.
limitations or restrictions that you might be
Yes,
having. You have cradle, which
that's
is
right.
about healing the connection that you may have had,
The
like a trouble
mother,
connection with the
yes, yeah,
mother,
yes.
um, and
Especially the mother, yeah.
and
When we're
especially the
growing up,
mother.
yeah.
Right. And issues that may have come up
Yes,
in infancy or childhood, toddlerhood, sort of growing up years, especially is cradle. And then we have white hat, which is about
yes,
synchronizing the heart energies with the mind energies, because the heart is
with
very
the
focused on
mind,
being
yes.
emotional.
Sometimes it get imbalanced, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And then
And
we
also
had
the deep heart.
deep. Yeah. Deep heart was
Deep heart is actually hit
I feel like I
letting
was
go
in
of
an
any deep-seated
exam.
emotions. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, or
letting
even
go of very deep
emotions. Yeah.
seated
Letting go
emotions.
and yeah, and then also feeling those areas, because the thing is that after when you let go, you see, when we clear it from your heart system, from your heart center, there's a void there, you see. So after that, we need to be filling it up with, replacing the void with love and light, to just, make it whole again.
Right. Okay. And then
Yeah, and also path
for
heart, sometimes, we do forget to there's a balance, because sometimes we forget in love and receive, and because we know that there's a balance between receiving and giving. So it's always a case where we are always giving and we actually forget, or even um it's difficult for us to receive sometimes.
Yes.
A lot of times, especially parents, like we're always giving, but when it's time for us to receive, we say, oh, no, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, but it's the balance is actually very, very critical, because the things that if you always give and we don't receive, we will actually, there will become a point in time where we actually be very tired, emotionally and physically, and then after that we just feel like everything makes no sense at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to have your cup filled as well just to be
Yes.
able to
Yeah.
give. Otherwise, you're giving from
Mm-hmm.
your empty cup and you have very little reserves then. Yeah. So,
Yeah, for
how
sure.
does a typical session sort of look like for those who are completely have never heard of this?
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, please tell us.
Okay. Normally the session will last for about 45 to 1 hour. So what we will do is we will actually just get the clients to just come in, and then we'll have a chit chat, and to actually really see what kind of healing that they need.
Right.
Yeah, depending on, sometimes they might just come to you and say, oh, I have nothing to heal, but I'll just go with the flow and see how, and because the thing is that sometimes you actually be guided to the techniques that even though they say they have nothing to heal,
Mm,
it's very funny sometimes, when they say they have nothing to heal, but after the session they'll say, oh, actually when you're healing me, this came out and that came out. So it's sometimes it's really, how energy works is really very fascinating, that you will just heal according to what is most needed, but in the hard areas, and then just everything will just fall into place.
yeah. And how
Yeah.
old? So when you say 45 minutes to an hour, what's happening? Are they sitting? Are they lying down?
Oh, okay. The client will mostly be lying. The client will be lying on the bed and fully clothed, and I'll just be placing my palms on the chest or even the rib cage area, depending on where, or even the back area, depending on which kind of healing techniques I'm using. And yeah, that's and also I'll be like, I mean, depending on how long it takes, certain position will be like maybe for 15-20 minutes, or before I change on to the next position, and so on. Yeah.
Right. And so basically your
Uh-huh.
hands are going to be placed on the person's body around the sort
Yeah.
of heart and rib cage cavity area. Um
Yes. But I
and
will
yeah.
mostly be placing a towel over, so that it's not too invasive, or it doesn't get too uncomfortable, with the person
Yeah.
is actually not comfortable with it touching the chest area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's great. Okay, so then in terms of like who is this? Obviously, I'm sure it can help everyone because everyone has issues with letting go or expanding their heart or going past their limitations or
Mm-hmm.
dealing with their childhood issues. Is there a minimum age that you like would you work on babies or is this something that it's mainly from children onwards? How does this work in terms of like limitations with ages maybe?
There's actually no limitation for the ages, because sometimes whatever issues, however hard issues that we have, can be brought from other lifetimes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because the things that, as we know, certain things that we carry on might not be from us, or it might actually be from the previous generation, like our grandmothers, or even for grandmothers before. So it's basically just trying to clear your system of some of the um inherited, or emotions that are actually from them, it's not you. Because it's actually very possible that we might have actually picked up some of the through the genetic sense, we might have actually picked up on some of the emotions that doesn't belong to us, but it's actually from the previous generation and things like that. So when you say what age group, is actually there's not actually not a specific age group, and anyone can just do this heart healing. So what I will actually do is, sometimes we encourage pregnant women
Mm.
to come for these healing sessions as well, because it's like you just want to clear as much as you can, you're not pass anything on to your next generation in the process as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So
so when can they come in if they are pregnant? Which trimester would you recommend them coming in? Can they come from first trimester already?
yes, any at any stage as well. So there's no restriction, because because we'll be just focusing on the chest area, and what we have to do is just basically make sure that they're comfortable in the whole process. If they need more cushion, you just give them more cushion, or if they feel cold, it's just the basic treatment procedures that we go through.
So in terms of like when someone comes to the session, what do you think they should be kind of hoping to feel after the session in terms of like the outcomes or the results of going to a session?
It really depends on what kind of things you're going through and what you're trying to resolve. And sometimes, most of the times you actually have detox effect. Like, sometimes how people release stagnant energy or, stuck energy is how, like, maybe they'll feel more thirsty than usual. They'll be just drinking more water and going to the toilet, or they might be yawning more, or, like having emotional outbursts sometimes, or even like, burping or coughing sometimes in place. It's how your body reacts or how your body way of releasing those stuck emotions along the way.
Yeah.
So these are so-called the detox effect that we might have after the session.
Once the detox effect has completed, is the person sort of supposed to feel a little bit lighter, better regarding the issue that they may have come in from, if that makes sense?
Most of the time, the feedback that I get from our clients is that they have more clarity. And when they are talking to the same person, their attitude towards them is actually not the same as before. When they actually will be like having a different perspective, and they will be more like standing at the side and seeing how the conversation unfolds, instead of being engaged, and every time when they just come together, there'll be an argument and things like that. So yeah, if they sometimes if they feel that they are still having the same issue, then they will actually know that the healing is actually not complete, and they have to come on for separate sessions as well.
Right. Okay. And so, can you share some success stories of some of the clients that you've worked with?
Okay. I have this client where I was telling you previously that she came to me and not knowing what to expect, because actually her friend recommended her. And when she came, she was just telling me that she's got nothing to work on, and she just want to experience it. And after the healing, she started to open up and say that actually she was in a very bad relationship 9 years ago, and after that she wasn't able to just open up her heart to actually accept another relationship. And throughout that 9 years, there was this one guy that was waiting for her.
Right.
Yeah. And then she was like treating him as a very good friend, and they didn't manage to just take the next step forward. And because she did know that he was waiting for her, but she was not ready to take on the next step to move forward in their relationship. Right. And after the heart healing session, she actually opened up herself, and she initiated she told me that she actually initiated how to progress on the relationship with this guy, which has been waiting for him for the past 9 years, and take it to the next step forward.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah. So it's really like for her case, it's more like opening her heart and healing those deep-seated wounds or injuries or whatever that she has actually suffered before the relationship, in the previous relationship, and just to be able to heal and to just open up her heart again to experience love. Which is really lovely.
Yeah. And tell me, you've worked with pregnant women, you said, and this is a great therapy for them, and especially in preparation. Why do you think it's so important for pregnant women to do this kind of therapy? And how do you think they would, if you could explain to them how they would benefit from doing this, maybe if you've had a client that has done it, for example?
Yeah, I have a client who's actually in the first trimester. She actually came for this healing, and she was saying that after the healing, she felt lighter, and because she did have some issues, with her brother, and she thought that that was because she felt that she didn't she actually had let go and forgiven whatever party, and after the healing session, she felt that it came out again. That obviously that wound or the emotions that she had for her brother is still there. So for her case, it's a way for her to just clear whatever, because the things that about siblings and relationship, it's there will be a lot of conflicts between them. But the thing is that when you clear that, if she managed to get another kid, so that kind of conflict will not reoccur again, in a sense that it will not be a repeat pattern of what she went through with her brother. Because the thing is that was her first pregnancy, and if there's just chance that she's having another kid after this one, then the chance of having the same conflict will not actually happen, because it's actually not passed down from, from her case to her son right now, or even some
Right.
of the relationship that she might have, with her other family members along the way as well.
Mm. And so why
Yeah.
why do you think it's important for people to embrace a technique like this for heart healing?
So sometimes, when things are stuck in a heart level, it's not beneficial for us in the long run, because we might have certain restrictions that actually holds us back from experiencing what love really is. Like, when this client of mine, she actually had a divorce, so she was actually holding herself back from experiencing love again, and letting someone else have a chance to go into her heart again, to love her and to nourish and to nurture her. So because as we grow up, we do have experiences that actually affects us in a way, and we sometimes we just thought that it's not going to mean a lot to us, and we just move on. But if all this is like, we sometimes are unaware of any emotions like that actually has an impact in our heart center, and that sometimes restrict us from doing certain things that we love as well. So when you actually come for all these therapies, especially heart healing, it actually opens up your heart and to just clear whatever of the residuals that are, or any of the unwanted energy that are that you're still holding space in, or having a space in your heart, or holding that resentment or things like that. So when you do this heart healing, it just let you sometimes, you have a flashback of certain issues that trigger this emotion that you have right now, or this difficulty of like having, or being open, or being able to just receive. And then after that, you just be able to say, oh, actually this has been affecting me, and unconsciously, so it's more like getting you to just look at, or reflect back on the things that that is actually holding a space in your heart center unknowingly, and just be able to just look at it and letting go, and be able to just be free in the process as
Mm.
well. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
not to carry so much baggage around. Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, just on what you were saying, like obviously all of us come with so many experiences, right? From childhood all the way to where we are now in
Yes.
our lives. So those
Yes.
many X number of years that you've been alive, you've just been taking in, feeling, processing all these
Yeah,
memories
because
attached to
sometimes when we
emotions.
yeah sometimes when we grow up, certain memories get, we actually forget about certain memories. Yeah, and when that happens, it's only when you get jotted and say, oh, actually this affected me in a way that I didn't expect it would. And after that, it's good for you to just clear it along the way, so that you're not still holding a space for that issues that you have, when you're growing up.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
is there anything that people can do already? Do you think, is there any tips that people can do to sort of start releasing this, or they should just come for a heart healing session?
I mean, there are certain ways. I mean, a general shift in mindset, or the perspective of how they look at things, is actually very important as well. But sometimes we are in our own dramas, so it's a bit difficult for us to be able to just distance ourselves away from whatever is happening, and then just having a different mindset, or having a different look at the what is happening. So what heart healing does is actually opening up, or even letting you see things more clearly. Like sometimes we are all drama kings and queens, or even we love the dramas that's going on in our life, and we don't realize that, like, whatever dramas we are creating is actually a hassle, or a burden for other people. We just want attention, and we just want to be the focus of everyone. So when that happens, it's a good way to, when heart healing happens, it's a good way for you to just step back and see, wait, what I've been doing all these years is really not conducive to myself, and it's actually uh, that we are actually just going around in circles all the time, and not getting a solution, and just being in the carousel all the time, and then you're just stepping out of whatever issues that we are going through. Yeah. So
Mm.
for heart healing, is more like having more clarity on what you should be letting go, and moving on along with life as well. Yeah.
And so obviously you were mentioning like this could take a few sessions. Typically, how many sessions could this be? Could it just be like a one-off? Could it be like it has to be 3 or 10? Like, when do you think your clients, if you've seen repeat clients especially, when do
Yes.
you think on average is there like golden number of sessions, do you think, where some good shifts have happened?
Okay. Now you actually get to see the result after the first session. but it depends on, how deeply seated, or, what kind of wounds, or what kind of issues they're trying to work on. Because it could be a multiple of issues that, that involves the, the heart, like, maybe lack of nurturing from parents, or like, relationship issues, or things like that. So as we say, healing takes place at a different time and different place. So when you're ready to work on this, it might maybe take, 3 or 4, depending on what kind of issue, or how bulked up you are, when you're growing up, or because everybody's life experience is different. So I want to be able to say, like, you just need 1 session, or, you just need maybe 2 or 3 sessions. So normally what I'll suggest to a client is, after the first session, I'll just ask them to just sit with the energy. And after that, see how they feel after that. So if they feel, they're still, because the things, as we know, detox will actually happen after the session. But, it's mostly important on how they feel. Like, it's come to me for certain issues, like, with their parents or with their mother. So how they feel when they interact with their parents after the session. Do they feel still agitated, or do they feel calmer, after? So it's really on how, because I would actually suggest that they actually self-inquire, because I don't to actually volunteer, like, like after the session, you need to come back, or things like that. I'll just ask them to just volunteer, or just, self-inquire about, how they feel. I want them to just, like, look more into, or feel into their system, or into their body, to see what their body is trying to tell them as well. Because it's actually very important that, we try to communicate with our bodies along the way. Because, this aspect of life is actually lost on a lot of us as we grow up along the years. It's like, whatever we feel, that we don't really care and stop and, feel whatever our body is trying to tell us. So, this is a very good way to actually really to just let them sit down, be still, and then see, how they react, and how their body, what their body is telling them, or whether if they need more healing, or they feel one session is enough.
And when you do a session, are you combining other modalities such as Reiki or any of the other things? Or are you specifically just doing heart healing?
So it also, okay, for this, it's also depending on, what the clients need. So if sometimes I'm doing a heart healing and I feel there's actually blockages, so I'll probably use some of the Reiki techniques, or even light energy with, to help with, clearing the blockages along the way as well. So, we actually will actually set the intention to just, to make sure that, whatever that is processed, or whatever techniques that we use, or whatever modalities that we use, are actually for the highest good of our clients. And, making sure that, the whole healing session is, as effective, and the clients are actually getting what they want in the process as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So you could be using all, or you could just be doing heart. It really just
Yes, it really
might be
depends on,
anything.
what the clients need. Yeah, because the things that sometimes, you feel that, they come for heart healing session, but after that they say, actually I think they need more light energy with, or even Reiki, compared to just, yeah, because the things that, it really depends on it. And sometimes, you have this kind of gut feeling, or you feel guided to do certain modalities or techniques on the person, even though they are just coming for, heart healing. Or sometimes, I've actually clients coming for Reiki sessions, but when you're doing healing on them, it's like, oh, I think they actually need more heart healing than Reiki. So I'll just, just do a little bit of twitching here and there, and just give them a bit of heart healing as well, to just balance their energy, and just clear, the whatever emotions that need to clear along the way as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to go into further detail about light energy weave, maybe just to
Yeah.
just touch upon it since we have a little bit of time.
Okay.
Could you explain what light energy weave is and how did that come about?
It's also from the Mayan lineage in the eastern Mexico, and it's actually basically similar to Reiki, but, it's the attunement process that is a bit different, and it also works on the different areas in our life, like, physical, mental, emotional, and actually the material plane as well. But, besides working on this area, it also touches on the DNA matrix of our body as well. So, just, besides just healing, letting the energy heal your body in a way that, where it's most needed, it also touches on the DNA, that they actually just change the DNA, codes or metrics, to make sure that, to heal it along the way as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's a
Okay.
different, it's actually more, it's actually a very different um way that it works, compared to Reiki, but, it's actually working on the same things, almost the same things as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Very, very interesting. I think we'll definitely somehow cover that conversation in another episode. But for now, since we're almost kind of out of time in a way for this conversation, can you just let us know, Jaslyn, thank you so much for all this information.
Yeah.
And what is the shift that you want to create with your work?
I mean, for my case, it's like, I just want to let everybody know that, everybody has got heart healing issues or heart issues or things like that. So the important thing is, you don't have to walk this journey alone. Always have to make sure, you know that there is actually people out there having the same issues, and being open to talk about it is not a shame. You shouldn't be just, be hiding somewhere and just suffering alone. Yeah, because know that there's always help around. It's only when, when you're ready and when you are open enough, then that's where the healing process actually starts, and you can actually heal yourself and heal the people around you as well. Yeah.
And how is your husband doing these days? He's good, I'm guessing, after all of this.
Yeah,
after
after
this journey.
after the Reiki one workshop, he actually stopped. His depression actually, he is actually cured of his depression, and he's actually a Reiki teacher now, but he doesn't teach. He's using it more for his business now. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Jaslyn. Thank you so much for joining us on Shift with Shubhra. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and yes, hopefully see you soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.